Hi and welcome to another grumpy video. So this is a bit of an update on my library haul video. Today I'm going to be talking about this book, Concentr8, try to put it the right way around, by William Sutcliffe. Okay, so I did pick this book up because of the cover, and I know there's a saying about that, but I also read the back of the book before deciding if I wanted to read it. And what I read interested me, so I decided I was going to give it a try. And I didn't regret it. Just to catch up, the back of the book reads, Troy, Femi, Karen, Lee and Blaze were looking for trouble, but not this kind of trouble. They didn't expect to get famous. Now the world is watching to see what they will do next. This is the story of what happens when angry, overlooked teenagers find themselves face to face with the powers that be. This is what happens when you take a city off its meds. So this book had me at the last line of the synopsis, and it didn't disappoint. The book is narrated from multiple perspectives, and at the beginning of the book it's from the perspective of a boy called Troy. He's with his friends while people in London are rioting. To start with, I wasn't sure if the book was based on the 2011 riots, and after reading it I think, although it may have been inspired by them, it definitely wasn't the same trigger. In the first chapter, Troy and his friends abduct a man who was on his way home from work at the mayor's office. Their crimes kind of spur of the moment, and the rest of the book follows, over the course of the next week, what happens after they've taken the man hostage. And you'd think as the reader that you're meant to be outraged by what they've done, and on the side of the people who are trying to rescue the hostage, not on the side of the chavs. And I use that word because that is the way that they are described in the book. Classic chav was how one of the kids was described by the hostage negotiator, and that was probably the nicest way they were ever referred to. Except it's not that simple to take sides the more you read into the book, because the book is told from many perspectives, as I said. You also get an insight into the inner monologue of some of the people in charge, and by the end of the book I really couldn't take sides with any of them. I mean, maybe the journalist, but she was a journalist. The trigger for the riots in this book was the withdrawal of a drug called Concentr8. This drug had been commonly prescribed to any troubled children as an alternative to Ritalin because it took longer to wear off. And one of the things I found interesting is at the beginning of each new chapter there's an extract from different books with information about Ritalin, and it gave me a whole new reading list to explore. Now, at the risk of upsetting some people, I'm not a fan of drugging children. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting that we withdraw insulin from diabetics or anything ridiculously extreme like that. But if you read this book, you might see where I'm coming from. One of the extracts that I really liked was this. Where was it? I can't tell you how many teachers and school nurses have told me how concerned they've become at the volume of kids they see every day at their schools who are on ADHD medication. And with 13.2% of boys being diagnosed compared to 5.6% of girls, I started to wonder if boys were being medicated for simply being boys, and if their disorder was really just a very normal phase of development. And that's taken from Bronwen, Hruska, interviewed by Jasmine, Elist, the LA Times. The key point I felt throughout the book was that the kids were being medicated for the convenience of adults, as they are in real life, because the children didn't behave, they couldn't sit still in class and concentrate, they were getting into trouble, they were fidgety, they were disruptive, and God forbid we ask ourselves whether the fact that they're being crammed into desks for however many hours a day is really appropriate for children, some as young as 4. Especially when we can just feed them a wonder drug that stops them from wanting to do something that might be entirely developmentally normal for them, even if it doesn't suit the older people among us. And that said, I'm not saying, oh yeah, let kids run riot and bugger the consequences, but you've got to ask yourself, are they really all mentally ill and in need of hard drugs to keep them in line? Is that the only answer? So I don't claim to have all the answers, or even any, but I definitely don't think that drugs are the first answer. Drugs should be a last resort. But are they? I don't think they are, and I question who benefits from the current arrangement. So I think that if you are at all interested in this subject, this is a good book to read, if only for the extended reading list that you might end up with, like I did. I'm definitely going to be checking if the library has some of the books quoted in this one. So that's it for this book, and it's a definite thumbs up from me. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Bye!